everybody, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to demonstrate how to make a necklace I've made. It's currently published in Summer Belle Armoire Magazine, and it's on page 21, and it's a leather necklace that I made with 2 strands of stones and a copper pendant. And if you would like to buy this purchased, I have it completed, or I have the kit for sale in my store, so you can design your own version. But this is what it looks like. And I'm going to start off by showing how we do the copper wire ends on the leather. So I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. And I went ahead and did 1 loop already. So we want to have a copper loop. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. It's flush, and on the other side I have the copper wire rounded around the leather, so it's kind of folded in between the loop on each side. That way it's flush and it doesn't scratch the wear on the skin, and also it hides the ends and it looks a little bit nicer because you can't see the cut marks. And then when you're finished, you just want to make sure that the loops and the wire all lay flat together. And I have the end here of the other side of the leather. I like it to face the outside, so when you're wearing the necklace, it'll lay like this. So to go ahead and start the other side, basically you take your rounded braided leather here, and I'm going to fold it up a few inches. If I have extra, that's fine. I trim the end, and we're going to form a loop. And I'm using 22 gauge copper wire. It's Artistic brand wire, my favorite brand, and I just cut off maybe 5 inches. It's better to have a little extra than not enough. And so I'm going to start on one end. I'm going to leave a little extra here hanging off, so that way it's my tail I can wrap up with. And also you want to have about this much loop section for the beading to attach to, maybe 1/2 inch. Because it's a thicker leather, you want to have a little bit more than not enough. I mean, it's up to you, I guess. If you just want to have it like that short, that's fine too. But anyways, I have the end of the wire here, and I'm going to start by wire wrapping around the loop heading down. And as you're wrapping, you want to have the loops as close together as possible, so they're nice and flat like this. And then while you're going around, you also kind of want to rotate your leather to make sure that it's still flush with the copper wire, because it will want to twist sometimes around, and you just want to kind of force it back down to be flat if it's trying to twist up, so that way everything's nice and flat together. And then you just go a couple more times, and then take your wire cutters, and you want to cut the wire in the center of the leather loop here, so that way you can pinch down your wire and it goes flat down in between the loops here. Let's move around, so let's put it back. So again, I'm just going to take my chain nose pliers. I'm going to kind of curve this wire around so it goes flush and in the inside of the loop here. And then also the wire is short enough where it's not going to poke you on the other side. So you want to trim the wire so it will hide in the center here and not poke on either side, and then just kind of pinch it closed. And so it will stay there on the inside and it won't come out, and then also will be hidden and flush as well. So then for same, you just want to repeat this step on the other side, and take your chain nose pliers and pinch it closed. And then if you have any separation of wire, just take your pliers and kind of push everything back together again until they're nice and flush, just like this, and they'll move. And then again, kind of put your leather back in the straight position and pinch everything down nice and flat, and you're good. And now you have your end all wire wrapped and it's done. And these are the 2 ends together, and they'll go kind of like this, and then you can attach your necklace to it. And then if you have too much on one end too, you can also trim the end of the leather so it's shorter. And the next step is I cut off a couple, I like to have a little extra, so probably 24 inches of wire. I'm going to back up the camera here a little bit. And I went ahead and with this one, So I have an equal amount of beads on each strand, and then for the bottom strand I have a metal pendant, and I want the strands to lay right next to each other in the necklace so they go down. So it looks like this. So they just lay right next to each other. So for this necklace, I'm using faceted rondelle beads, and these are a mixture of different stones. So I have like sodalite, jasper, agates, crazy lace agate, aquamarine, moss agate, and they just make like a real nice neutral tone. And then I'm also using metal spacer beads in between each one. Okay, so I use a spacer bead, and I'm going to do a stone and a spacer bead on the top row and go all the way around, and you can mix up whatever pattern you want. And the top row is going to go like this, and you just continue around. So you want to keep going until you have, again, 33 beads for the top row, and then the next row we'll do 18 beads, add our pendant, and another 18 beads. Okay, so I've put 18 beads with spacer beads, and next I'm going to add some larger copper spacer beads and add the pendant in the center. And like this, and I put a jump ring on the pendant, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and slide it there, add another larger spacer bead, and this is a different spacer bead from the one in between the stones. It's a little bit larger, so it will add a little bit more of a breakup point and some texture between the pendant and the stone. And then next you just start adding more stones until you have 18 on the other side. So I finished the 18 stones on each side and the pendant in the center, and I'm going to finish off each end. So I'm using a crimp bead and a wire guard. I'm going to go ahead and crimp this into place. And then I also like to use a crimp cover to help clean it up a little bit and trim off excess wire on the one side. And adding the crimp cover. And so now I have both sides crimped and crimp covered. So this is the first layer of the necklace. And I've got my other pieces off here to the side to attach when I'm finished. And we're going to go ahead and start the next layer, which is going to lay on the inside of the necklace. Now the second necklace, I will go ahead and I start with the crimp bead on the end because it's going to be one strand of beads. Whereas this one, I sometimes start on one side, add the pendant, and finish the other side, and then crimp them both. When it's one long section of beads, I immediately start off by crimping the end. And with this one, again, I'm using a crimp and a wire guard. That's great because I'm using a jump ring with this pattern, and the wire guard protects the wire from fraying when it slides on a jump ring. So I'll be using this jump ring, and I want to have the wire guard be able to move freely around it. And I'm going to cut off excess wire and add a crimp cover, and then we'll start beading this one. Okay, I've finished my second strand, and again, we're gonna have 33 beads along here. And as I'm going, you can kind of hold up each side of the necklace to each other to make sure that the beads sit nice inside of each other before you add your crimp bead on the other end. So I think this is going to work, so I'm going to go ahead and add a crimp bead to this end and tie it off. So I have both of my strands done, and I'm going to go ahead and add the jump rings to attach everything together. So I'm using a 9mm jump ring, and again, I have this whole kit available in my store if you would like to recreate this for yourself. It comes with all of the pieces. And I'm going to go ahead and join another jump ring. That way we can attach the leather to this side. And so I'm adding a second one so that the leather can lay flush on the neckline. So it will lay like this as you're wearing it. Next, I've added the 9mm jump ring to the other end of the leather and to the other end of the two stones. And then I'm going to take a 6mm jump ring and attach a lobster clasp to the top of this jump ring connecting the stones. And this will be the closure for your necklace that will clasp closed here on this jump ring, and then your necklace is finished. And here you go. Isn't it beautiful? I love this one. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and TikTok, and on my website. My email is also connected at andria-bieberdesigns.com. And thanks for joining me today. Have a great evening.